Okay, this is the second example of a feedback mechanism using hormones from the endocrine system. This one, in case you want to read it, which you should, is found on page 403 in chapter 20 in your textbook. And this is one we speak about, and this is one I think you have some knowledge of, and that is the relationship between the sugar hormones. All right, but this one is an example involving two hormones. So one thing you need to know and remember is that the body needs glucose to make ATP. However, we all know that the amount of ATP you need is going to fluctuate, change according to your body's demand. Now, you also know that high levels of glucose can damage your cells. It causes what we know as hypertonicity. And so glucose levels in your blood must be regulated. Don't forget hypertonicity, hypertonic, hypotonic. So there are two hormones, opposite hormones. They're called antagonistic hormones, and they're responsible for regulating blood glucose concentration. One is insulin, and one is glucagon. Now, if you are reading this diagram here, which I'm going to get the information up, they do work opposite of each other. So if you listen to one, maybe this diagram is confusing, the next diagram, or there's also figure 20.9 in your textbook, which would help. But let me get the information up here. And then we'll take sorry, run too fast. Take a little step. All right. So you've just eaten. Okay. After feeding, after eating, blood glucose levels are generally high. Okay. So here we are on the right side. We're going to be reading right to left here. Okay. So blood glucose levels are high. Sugar absorbed by the small intestine and is now in your blood. So that's going to send a signal to your brain, to send a signal to your pancreas to secrete insulin. Insulin released from a special cell in your pancreas called a beta cell causes a decrease in sugar in the blood. So as you can see, you follow along. So higher levels of blood glucose causes higher levels of insulin to remove the blood glucose. All right. And where does the glucose go? Well, it's going to go to mainly two places. Your liver, stored as glycogen, and your cells, primarily your muscle cells, to be used for aerobic cellular respiration or stored. And if both of these are at their max, the glucose is taken out and stored as fat. Not a good thing. So it involves glycogen making synthesis, okay, and taking it up by your body cells. And then glucagon works exactly opposite. Okay, so glucagon works when your blood glucose is low. What are some conditions there? You mean in the morning when you get up after exercise. So glucagon is released from a cell called an alpha cell in the pancreas. Okay, and what glucagon does, it will tell the liver and your cell and your fat cells to put more glucose back in. So it involves stimulating glycogen breakdown in the liver back into glucose and promoting fat to burn. Let's take a look at the other diagram. This one's pretty close to the one you have in your textbook. And all you have to do here is pick a place. It looks a little busy, but it's not. Find the word high and find the word low. So let's go to high. High glucose level. Beta cells release insulin. Insulin causes two things. Body cells to take up glucose, liver. So you want glucose out of the blood. At which point, once it's taken up, glucose levels begin to decline, making your everything homeostatic. And that's what your body, narrow limits. So if you have it here, suppose the level of sugar drops too low, then the stimulus is to remove the glucose, okay, from the liver and from the muscles, and you need the hormone glucagon stimulated, which is going to stimulate the liver to break down glycogen to release glucose. So you can follow the diagram. The black is for when you have increase, and the blue is for when you have low sugar. High sugar, low sugar. And that is going to end